Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
As the state and nation mark the Civil War sesquicentennial this year, the North Carolina Department of Tourism has published a Civil War Trails Guide that maps the war from Roanoke Island to Robbinsville. Secretary Lynn Minges recently stopped by our studio to tell us more.
Lynn Minges, always a pleasure to have you here on North Carolina Now.
Thank you, Mitch. It's great to be here with you today.
Now, you are the Assistant Commerce Secretary for Tourism, Marketing, and Global Branding.
Yes.
And recently your division came up with a new statewide Civil War Trails Guide. Now, what's the difference between the new guide and the old guide?
Well, it's just an iterative process. We began the first work on this first Civil War Trail Guide in 2005. And at the time we launched the first guide, we had 100 sites on the map, on the trail guide. We then did another one in 2007 that pushed us up a little bit more, around 175 different sites on the map. And we're now up to 232 sites in 78 counties across North Carolina. So it's really just bigger, broader, more encompassing, has more sites on the map.
You were talking about the project being broader because this doesn't just include North Carolina. This is a nationwide project.
It is. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this particular trail. I've been involved in trail development for about 18 years since I've been at the Department of Commerce and the Office of Tourism. This one is unique because it links together multiple states. Literally thousands of sites and attractions are interpreted. So folks can get the North Carolina portion of the trail. They can call and get the map for just North Carolina, the trail guide. But they also can get similar ones for Virginia and for West Virginia and Tennessee and Maryland and other sites as well. So that really does create some linkages among states. You know, visitors often don't know state lines, and so they're really just interested in learning more about our history and heritage and culture and the linkages between the states during the Civil War. So that's the beauty of this particular program.
So how does the Trails Guide go about following the events that had taken place during the Civil War? Well,
I'll tell you just a little bit about how it came to be. We got a grant from the Department of Transportation. It's federal highway dollars for an transportation enhancement program, and that allowed us to go out into communities all across North Carolina. The first part of the process was with the Department of Cultural Resources. They have historians there, and they helped to identify sites that truly were significant sites during the Civil War. And so that was the first part of it. And then the tourism division went out, reached out to those communities, and enlisted those communities to be a partner with us to participate in the trail. I think the interesting thing about this program is that they literally had to sign up to participate in the program and had to invest in the program. So there are federal dollars involved, there are state dollars involved, and local communities pay to be a part of the trail. And that allows it to be a much more robust program, I think. There's all kinds of things like promotion and signage, interpretation. There's maintenance of those signs included in the program for years to come. So that, I think, allows this program to be sustainable over a long period of time and really differentiates it from a lot of other programs out there.
When most folks make reference to the Civil War, they usually look at the military side of it, but there are also other elements. How are you including the elements in this Trails Guide?
Well, I think that's a real interesting point, is that we frequently learn about the Civil War first in 4th grade and then 8th grade history, and we know about the various skirmishes that took place. But I think in North Carolina, one of the most interesting things about our state are the unique places. I'm a graduate of Peace College, and it's interesting to me to note that that was a Confederate hospital. Although I went to school there and slept in that dorm room, it's pretty interesting to think that that was a significant place during the Civil War. There are other places like the city of New Bern that, if you read the history books, probably wouldn't say a lot about what happened there during the Civil War, but it really played an important role in helping to house and stage for what happened up the road in Kinston. So a lot of unique stories that will be told in this guide that you don't necessarily get in the history books.
So how are you going about actually marketing this guide?
Well, we've developed the guide, and we've printed several thousand of those, and they're available for visitors who want to participate to get a copy of the guide and learn more about the trail. They can go on our website, visitnc.com. They can either download the trail directly, they can order a printed copy of the trail guide, or they can read about the trail. So they can get information that way. But we're doing a number of things. First and foremost, we're advertising in conjunction with these other states. So if you're a Civil War traveler enthusiast and you subscribe to various historic publications, you can find out about it that way. We're also pitching the story to national journalists, to the national media. And so as they're covering the sesquicentennial, the 150th anniversary, that's a hard word to say, I've learned, but as they're covering those stories in conjunction with the 150th, we want to make sure they know about the unique things that happened in North Carolina. So we're working hard to pitch those stories about unique people and places and sort of those unassuming events that you forget about happening. So we're pitching to the national media. There are special events happening all over the state. Our friends at the Department of Cultural Resources are helping to stage a number of reenactments, special museum displays, exhibits. There's supposedly 150 of those that will take place that folks can visit over the next 5 years. And so lots and lots of things. We're talking to group tour operators who bring motor coaches into the state. What a unique thing to do to incorporate some of those visits as folks choose to become a part of a motor coach tour in the state, to theme that around Civil War heritage. So lots and lots of things we're doing, and the 150th offers a unique opportunity to present old things in a new way.
And when folks think of the Civil War, I mean, it was family against family, North versus the South. But in presenting this Civil War Trails Guide, what do you hope that people who happen to follow these trails, what do you hope that they will learn from all of this?
Well, obviously, we could all bone up on our history a little bit. It's an interesting time to go back and just read the facts of what happened during the Civil War. There are also themes about women's role in the Civil War. Obviously, they weren't soldiers, but they played a very important role. I was reading recently that our textile heritage played an important role, as many of the uniforms and the flags, the textiles that were used in the war were produced here in North Carolina. The interesting plight of the African Americans and the role that they played, whether they were slaves or whether they fought in the war. Very, very important side of the story that's not often told. And there's a lot to be learned there. The role of the Cherokee, their lives were affected during this war as well. So I think it will be interesting for folks to learn about the war and the significant things that will be told in different ways during this time.
And once again, remind our viewers, if they want to get more information about the Trails Guide, where do they need to go? Well,
they can call 1-800-VISIT-NC and have maps and trail guides and travel guides sent directly to them. They can go on our website, visitnc.com, and download the information. They can view videos and lots of photography, pictures of sites, learn more about it, or they can order the trail guide directly there. Lots of ways to get information. They can also visit a state welcome center and pick up copies there.
Lynn Minges, Assistant Secretary for Tourism, Marketing, and Global Branding with the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Thank you so very much for stopping by and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.